That's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff that come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Because she had
because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air, with her head stuck under the bed. At 60.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said.
You're not letting 50. Cent released some exclusive footage of Diddy's freakoffs that Terrence Howard sent him. Terrence Howard is finally revealing the truth about Diddy, and trust is booming. For years, he has been outspoken about how he was essentially kicked out of the industry for not participating in some of the shady business. With these new revelations about Diddy, it appears that we are finally getting a glimpse of who all these influential people were. But Diddy is not the only one involved, because Turn A had a little more to say about Diddy's boot than Young Miami, who is claiming that Young Miami was at these freakoffs. The real tea here is what he allegedly caught her doing on camera because, well, it's nastier than you can ever imagine. Okay, so let's get right to the point. Terrence Howard is spilling some crazy information about Diddy, and the crazy part is that he did it without being asked because no one knew that he had dirt on Diddy in the first place. A few days ago, he sat down for a podcast interview. And let's just say that he had some things to say about Diddy, from the sound of it. His experience wasn't all that different from what a bunch of other people have been saying about Diddy. For years, alleged shady behavior trying to get people into awkward or messy situations. Tim claimed that Diddy had called him and said that he needed help with his acting. This is interesting because while Diddy does occasionally appear on shows, it's not so serious that he would need Terrence Howard as an acting coach. Nevertheless, Terrence arrived thinking it was all business. But as soon as he arrived, he started acting very differently. As if he had other plans. Terrence quickly and clearly stated that he doesn't play those kinds of games and that he wasn't here for any of that, effectively shutting him down.
Ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to... That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man.
He also reportedly wanted to clarify that he wasn't the only man Diddy had attempted to seduce. He asserted that Diddy had attempted to seduce each and every male who had gone to his parties, saying that each man had lost their man cards as a result.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You should have a greater desire.
It is not secure. There doesn't seem to be anyone safe at Diddy's parties because everything is so shady. But what's crazy is that this isn't even the first time Terrence has spoken out about this kind of shady behavior in Hollywood. He has been saying it for a while now. A few years ago, Terrence opened up about what he claims was the true reason he left the industry and quit. Acting. And no, it wasn't just because he wasn't getting roles or was tired. Stated bluntly, that Hollywood was trying to take away his manhood, but once he stood up, people began labeling him as difficult and acting as though he was the issue. This is the same old pattern we've seen so many times with female actors. The industry turns the tables on them the moment someone speaks up or doesn't follow the rules. So when he appeared in December, he was announcing his retirement from acting. People, in 2022 were undoubtedly taken aback. Terrence claimed that there was more going on behind the scenes, claiming that the industry was attempting to put him in some really awkward situations that he felt were intended to take away his manhood. This timing left people perplexed because it seemed like he was still landing big roles and had a strong fan base. There was no drama or scandal that would have forced him out of the game in that way. Alleged that Hollywood didn't like that. And the next thing we know, he's out of retirement, but he's still moving very cautiously. Since returning to the spotlight, Terrence hasn't been afraid to reveal what he claims is the shady side of the entertainment industry. One thing he frequently brings up is the pressure he felt to wear a dress on screen, something he said had nothing to do with the plot. A lot of black male actors have stated over the years that producers tried to force them to wear dresses in films or skits where it didn't even make sense. It sounds like they were only intended to make fun of him or belittle his masculinity. Williams stated the same thing when he spoke with Club Shay Shay, discussing his entire emasculation problem and revealing that it's much more prevalent in the pressures to wear a dress or behave in ways that undermine a man's masculinity are more common in Hollywood than people may realize. According to Kat, he continued by saying that he has actually declined fat checks on multiple occasions due to this very problem.
Protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Can I need another one? You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing.
At the time, Terrence jumped right in to share his thoughts, and he had something really interesting to say. You may recall how the rumors circulated that Terrence was fired because of his temper, and people said he was too hard to work with. However, after Cat Williams' interview ended, Terrence came through to clear the air, shutting down the rumors, and making it clear that the real reason he was replaced was because he stood his ground and wasn't going to let the industry take advantage of him. My dad taught me to never take vertebrae out of your back or the base out of your throat. I ain't raising sheep. I raised men, he claimed, describing his manhood as the reason they let him go. Remaining a male comes with a curse since society isn't designed for men to thrive anymore. Everything is androgynous. You know, the more successful men aren't effeminate, but he didn't stop there. Because in another interview, Terrence once again affirmed that there is Athe perceived strong black men as a threat, so they have a covert plan to dehumanize them. He stated in the interview that the man has been demonized with a new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be strong, but when it's black men, it's seen as a threat. I don't want to remove a few commercial zones to fit in someone's story. So I feel they need to expand their stories to allow men to be men and simultaneously appreciate a woman's beauty now. Considering it is not surprising that fans have begun piecing together Diddy's recent statements, and to be honest, it is starting to resemble Cints. However, an insider claims that Terrence is withholding even more explosive information that could be even more damaging than what he has already disclosed. And 50 Cent claims that it is all related to Diddy's side project. Terrence's interview went viral, and 50 Cent declared he was going to keep quiet about it. Young Miami now no comment. I'm staying positive. God help us all. But it appears that he may have changed his mind because he is now making wild claims about having some nasty freakoff footage. According to reports, Terrence allegedly took the footage at one of the parties he attended, and it purportedly showed Young Miami in some situations. This isn't particularly shocking, though, as the streets have been claiming that the city girl Young Miami knows far more than she is revealing. There have even been rumors that she has participated in freakoffs, allegedly as a conspirator rather than a victim. For instance, when his sidekick Gina Wan shared a photo of herself and Diddy, Miami became enraged and threatened to force Gina into a freakoff. Her words were, "Tina, you've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eats PND whenever he felt like it. You're a bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor Sushi." She went on, "You wanted a baby. B, I have a Korea hoe. You're a certified freak and you haven't heard from Diddy since the awards," which brought back memories of getting rid of babies. "If I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees and you're a munch." But don't even get me started on how she allegedly bullied one of Diddy's other side pieces when she became pregnant with Diddy's child. According to court documents, the V, who wishes to remain anonymous, is filing as a Jane Doe, was allegedly forced to consume certain drugs at Diddy's house. According to the report, Jane Doe went to defendant Combs's residence in Los Angeles in July 2022 at his order, and while in his restroom, she was forced to consume an unidentified substance. Jane Doe later discovered that it was or included ketamine, another substance that caused her to intermittently lose consciousness and black out over the night. Jane Doe did not agree to consume ketamine and or other substances that she claims would make her perform a show for him and would ply her with alcohol and substances until she passed out. She would wake up with bruising and injuries, but with no recollection of how she sustained her injuries. She wrote, adding that she woke up with bruises all over her body, hinting that something had happened to her while she was unconscious. This went on until July 2024. But she eventually claimed to have become pregnant with Diddy's child, which led to Young Miami allegedly bullying her until she miscarried. According to the affidavit, Jane Doe took a pregnancy test shortly after, and it came back positive. The complaint against Diddy is still pending. Jane Doe told defendant Combs of the positive test. Jane Doe had a miscarriage and stopped communicating with defendant Combs and his crew for about 3 months after being harassed by Carisha Brownlee, defendant Combs's associate, who called her regularly and told her to get fired. Brownlee is Young Miami, also known as City Girls. But it's easy to see why Young Miami would target a woman like that, considering how aggressively she departed when D had a child with another woman in 2022. In addition, Little Rod's lawsuit made even more unsettling allegations about Young Miami, claiming that she was not only heavily involved, but also had other family members involved. In this updated lawsuit, he claimed that Young Miami wasn't merely a guest at Diddy's parties, where the dubious events could have occurred. Additionally, she was a silent observer of everything that took place. He even mentioned a particular instance in which Diddy allegedly had a Young Miami cousin try to snitch on him at an event, writing, "Mr. Combs was drunk and offered cocaine to Mr. Jones, who rejected him and went to the restroom while using the restroom. The cousin of Young Miami stormed into the restroom and started snooping around. Mr. Jones thinks that Mr. Combs ordered her there to write an essay about Mr. Jones. On another occasion in Miami, Florida, on Thanksgiving night 2022, Mr. Jones asked Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor to enter. The document stated that the Young Miami cousin did not accept Mr. Jones's rejection and followed him out of the bathroom, starting to undress and attempting to straddle him and have intimacy with him in front of Mr. Combs and his staff. Mr. Jones was terrified, but fortunately, he didn't have a $100 bill. So Mr. Combs waited a little while longer to do nose candy with Young Miami in the studio restroom. He asked them for a $100 bill since he wanted them to do it with him. In addition, he accused Young Miami of assisting Diddy with drug transportation and delivering drugs to Diddy wherever he needed them. According to court documents, the plaintiff and the Combs RICO enterprise were practicing for something at the Virginia Water Festival. The lawsuit states Liff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs do a few lines of coke in his dressing room. Defendant Sean Combs wanted Tui, but Brendan forgot it, so defendant Christina Carorm brought it on the jet from Miami. He continued by accusing Young Miami of working as an S worker for Diddy and receiving a monthly payment for her labor. According to court documents, Young Miami Jade and Daphne Joy were compensated for their employment as Mr. Combs' employees on a monthly basis via a wire transfer from Robin Greenhill that detailed the defendant's ongoing criminal operation. There have been numerous accounts of people connecting Young Miami to Diddy. It appears that 50 Cent has some videos of her in 4K. And to be honest, That man is the last person you want on your side because he is as messy and petty as they come. When you add in this feud with Diddy and the fact that it has been going on for more than 20 years, you can say that things are looking good for Young Miami and Terrence Howard. Telling the truth, 050, it's only a matter of time until he leaks the tape and blows up the drama again. In the meantime, I'd like to know what you guys think about Young Miami being pulled into this again because of Terrence Howard's comments. Please leave your thoughts in comments below. And then watch this next video because it's difficult for a pimp to get subscribers for it.